We finally have a declared victor. But what will the long-term impact of this 2020 presidential election have on the Silicon Valley real estate market long-term? All that coming up on the Silicon Valley Snapshot. This is Danny Gould with the Selling Silicon Valley Group. Welcome everyone to another Silicon Valley Market Snapshot for the second week here in November of 2020. Oh my God, what a wild ride that last week was. But everyone seems to be calming down now, and whatever side of the political fence you're on. Yeah, last week was tough, right? So definitely there's a lot of takeaways from what we can expect moving forward. But before we go into the data and the numbers for the local marketplace and analysis long term, if you are a home buyer in today's marketplace and you're looking for a relevant data set to help you make an educated decision as to what you should be offering on homes in the areas that you're looking in, go ahead and text the word data plus the area or zip code or neighborhood that you're looking in, and we will get you a data set very similar to what you see on these Silicon Valley snapshots, but more micro targeted to your areas. And if you're a home seller and you're looking for a comprehensive data set that will help you analyze and assess as to what you should be pricing your property when you introduce it to the marketplace, go ahead and text the word data plus your property address so that we can get that information to you. Now more than ever, it is imperative to price your property accordingly and appropriately. Now let's get into this week's analysis. And obviously what's fresh on everyone's mind is the 2020 presidential election, as well as the state and local election. And really what I wanted to dive into today, before we get into the numbers and the data that you're accustomed to seeing, is just briefly talking about some of the policies that may be enacted in the next 4 years and how they could shape up the Silicon Valley marketplace in 2021 and beyond. Let's start off with what's on everyone's mind, which is the fact that Joe Biden has been declared president. What does that mean for Silicon Valley real estate? Well, one of the major items on his ticket, one of the major, I would say, initiatives that he ran on was this idea of actually getting rid of the 1031 exchange for anyone making over $400,000 a year. So what does that mean? So if you're if you own a lot of investment property, you can no longer participate in a 1031 exchange should your income taxes, should your income be greater than $400,000 a year. Now, remains to be seen if this policy will be enacted. However, it is important to remember that if this change does take effect, this will drastically affect real estate prices, not just here locally, but across the country, but especially in areas where there's a lot of folks who make over that amount of money. And especially here in Silicon Valley, there's a lot of folks that make that kind of money. So watch out and pay attention these next couple of years as I don't believe we'll see anything in 2021 that immediately or will immediately affect the 1031 exchange, but this could be something that passes in the next 4 years, or at least gets taken to the Senate or Congress in the next 4 years. So definitely something to pay attention to. Now, on the flip side, let's pay attention to the state and local elections. And really one of the premier ticket items on this year's election was for California was Prop 19. Prop 19, if you're unaware, is basically the superior stepchild, not the ugly stepchild, but the superior stepchild of Prop 6090, which basically enables folks who are over the age of 55 to transfer their tax bases pretty much anywhere in the state of California. And they can do it more than just one time. Before, Prop 6090 allowed you to transfer your tax bases one time, and it was only to certain counties within the state of California. Now, for every action, there's a positive reaction, right? So that's the good news. The bad news is that tax basis is no longer transferable. Children who inherit their parents' properties and they don't intend to live in it as their primary, so if they inherit it and they they plan on keeping it as a secondary home or an investment property, the tax base is no longer transferable with that property. So there's that yin and then there's that yang, right? And so definitely that is going to be something that drastically, again, impacts real estate prices here in California. It remains to be seen how that affects it. Is it positive because there's going to be more transfers above the age of 55? Or is it negative because there's going to be a flood of inventory from heirs that no longer can afford to keep those properties because now they have this huge tax bill once it gets reassessed? When it comes to Biden's 1031 rule or Prop 19, these are fluid situations and it still remains to be seen. And we'll definitely be sure to keep giving you updates on how this is playing out in real time and how it's impacting people in real time. And you can count on the Silicon Valley Snapshot to keep everyone up to date with how that's impacting not just the nation, but really how that's impacting players here in Silicon Valley. So again, it's too early to tell how all of this is going to shape up, how it's going to impact whether or not even the 1031 thing that Joe Biden is planning on passing actually even passes, right? Right now it's looking like Congress is going to be a little bit more right-leaning, but who knows, right? So it's too early to tell, but you can rest assured that we will continue to monitor the situation as things progress.
You own a home, but you want to buy a new one. But before you can do that, you need to sell your current home. The Selling Silicon Valley Group makes it easy. We will get you an all-cash offer for your current home to take it off your hands and give you the money to buy your new home. You move when you're ready. We don't really need your house, so we'll put it on the market and work to sell it for full market value at the highest possible price. The best part is, if and when the home sells for more than what we paid you, we send you a check with the difference. You can get the full market value of your old home, and you get to move into your dream home on your schedule by yourself without the hassle with the Selling Silicon Valley Group's exclusive trade-in program.
Enough about politics, enough about all that. Let's get into the data. Really, there's one main takeaway from this week's data, and that is that October was much better for real estate than we would have initially anticipated. When you look at typical election cycles, there is a drop in demand, there's a drop in inventory, and in every single county, minus San Francisco, pending sales skyrocketed in the month of October in comparison to September of 2020. It is incredible. Month over month, the growth that we're experiencing, still the velocity of the market, given the fact that we're going into the holiday season, given the fact that we were faced with probably what will go down as one of the most tumultuous, contentious presidential elections in history. And still, the Silicon Valley marketplace says, yeah, but we've got homes to buy. And that's really the takeaway from today's data. When you look at Santa Clara County, for example, October was a 3.9, so a modest growth, 3.9% growth from September to October in terms of pending sales, a slight, very nominal dip in inventory adjustment, month over month dip, but 3.9%, a modest growth, but growth nonetheless. We would have expected leading into election season to see a drop off. Now flip over to San Mateo County. We saw a 2.1% increase in pending sales, and again, a very modest 0.2% increase in inventory. But again, this is a month that we should have, or we would have expected, and I would have expected too, for us to see a decline in pending sales again in San Benito County. Now, the pending sales here, slightly different story. So the pending sales in San Benito County did drop 10.4%, and for sale inventory skyrocketed 34%. So we see a little bit of a change there. Now, in San Francisco County, we saw an increase. So I apologize. So before I was saying San Francisco, it was San Benito. I got the two mixed up. San Benito County, that was where the pending sales dropped. In San Francisco, again, not only did they go up a little bit like we saw in Santa Clara, San Mateo County, pending sales skyrocketed 14.9%, while inventory only went up 1.7%. So that the pending sales made a slight dent in that massive surge or that massive excess of inventory in San Francisco County. When we look at Contra Costa County, we saw massive 10.2 increase in pending sales and a slight nominal increase in inventory, 1.6%. But think about that, where we would have expected the market to dip, at least a couple of percentage points, we saw a 10% increase in pending sales. And then finally in Alameda County, a 3.9, a little bit more modest, 3.9% growth in pending sales and a very nominal change in inventory levels. But again, the takeaway from this data should be that, if anything, the election did pretty much nothing to stymie the velocity of the market. Now, that was pre-November. What would we expect to see in November? Well, if you look across the board, pending sales in Alameda County down 14%. Month to date versus last month. So 12% down in Alameda County, 16% down. We're looking at San Benito, San Mateo County, 18% down and 8% down. So basically in all of those counties, we are seeing a slight dip in pending sales this first week and a half. Versus last month. Now, remember, last month was a month where we experienced growth. So even a little bit of a dip would still mean that overall, compared to September, we're still pretty much in that same echelon. So nothing to worry about yet. And I do expect that. Obviously, with Thanksgiving, we're going to see a lot more homes or a lot less homes coming on the market, rather. So really, these next 2 weeks are going to determine whether or not we are, we're going to see the market really slow down. And I expect that to be the case, especially as we head into December, or if it surprises us again, where we saw this exactly in October, where the first couple of weeks there was a month to date, a slowdown. And then we saw this huge acceleration heading into the election, which is not what we're accustomed to seeing. So we don't know, obviously, the unknown is out there, and we really don't know what to expect. But what I anticipate happening is a much stronger. Now that we've seen this data, I anticipate a much stronger December than we're used to seeing, both in terms of inventory, more inventory on the market than we're accustomed to seeing during the holiday season, as well as more pending sales, more buyer demand overall. What will drive the inventory predominantly is going to be a lot of that pent-up inventory that we didn't experience in the springtime because of COVID. And I do anticipate that we'll see higher than normal inventory levels. Nothing crazy like we saw, maybe nothing too high like maybe in August, September timeframe. It'll be a dip. There'll be a dip in inventory, but higher than normal year-over-year levels. And in pending sales, I do anticipate that we'll see more buyer demand than we're accustomed to seeing, simply because of the low interest rates, right? And the velocity right now of the market is too high to ignore, honestly. And so that momentum, I do believe, will carry us into the new year, and we'll see a very, very frothy Q1 especially for home sellers in the Silicon Valley marketplace. That's it, everyone. That's all for today's Silicon Valley Snapshot. Again, if you're a home buyer in today's marketplace and you're looking for data that's exactly like this, but for the zip code or the neighborhood or area that you're looking in, go ahead and text the word data plus the zip code or area or neighborhood that you're looking in, and we'll get you a comprehensive data set very similar to what you're seeing here. And if you're a home seller in today's marketplace and you're looking for pricing strategy or even market value for your property, go ahead and text the word data plus your property address, and we will get you the most comprehensive data set possible to make your decision as educated as possible. This is Danny Gould, everyone, with the Selling Silicon Valley Group, and I will catch all of you in the next video.